Right. So to begin the discussion off, I'll answer a couple of your questions. I have some notes written down that I'll be referring to probably to help me remember what I read and better answer your questions. The first one, okay, I didn't understand the whole section about fear. What did you take away from it? Okay, so fear is a factor that can influence the way we make decisions, for better or worse. For the worse, it can make us, rushed, anxious. It could even cause anxiety as we try to control factors that are outside of our control. And in all honesty, being aware of that is half the battle. We want to ensure that we can stay logical in our decision-making process and not allowing fear to take away from that. The book talks about making fear our ally. It says it can help us to make those better decisions by recognizing it and understanding, that we shouldn't fear fear itself, but that recognizing that fear is good in the things we do allows that healthy motivation. It also talked about something that's really important, that fear is derived from our past and what we think of the present. So and what we think of the future, excuse me. If we live in the present, then we aren't fearing the fear of what will happen or fearing what has already happened. We're actually making a difference right now. So let's go on to the next question for the sake of time. So the next question is, what did they mean by detach from the outcome? How can you do that if you're accountable for the results? Excellent. So detaching from the outcome doesn't necessarily mean to, not care about the end result. I think the section that talked about creating possibilities, not expectations, is really important. An expectation is something that we come in preset of what we want, thinking towards the future, whereas a possibility is something that we could create or make right here in the meeting or wherever we are in the present. And expectations or desired outcomes that may skew what could be created is, for example, if I go into a meeting wanting to look good or sound smart or impose my idea on someone else, or I find myself repeating the same things a lot, could really have a big effect on the outcome. In this case, I need to be more aware of, what can we create and what can we do together in the present. But we do need that balance to be successful. I do need to have, some accountability and some outcomes that I'm looking for. But I need to go in making sure that we don't just reach the things that I want, but I ensure that the best things are met as a sales manager, whether the idea comes from me or from someone else. The third question was, what things did you find valuable in the active listening section and why? So in the active listening section, I think it's just a big emphasis on being present. Actively listening is listening and engaging with the person who's talking, as well as contributing afterwards with meaningful questions to help them to share more of the things that are relevant and are inspiring to create new possibilities. I think engaging them, personally as they speak is very important, and this will help them feel more important. This will improve the desired results as you work together in a collaborative way. And I think just by doing that, the conversation becomes healthier and more meaningful for everybody. Okay, so the last question that y'all asked is, what is it meant by becoming fully accountable? There's no way I control everything, but why would I want to do this? So being fully accountable doesn't necessarily mean that you take it upon yourself to control everything that's going to happen in the future. But I do think it means, as a manager, is owning the results that are obtained. A good example in the book was with the airlines, with Southwest and JetBlue, how due to unforeseen circumstances, whether it was with, equipment or weather or a variety of things that could have taken place was they chose to, for example, Southwest, gave a lot of free flights, or they gave reimbursements, or they tried to make it better, even though not everything that happened that caused many people to miss their flights was necessarily directly related to them and their faults, but they did take responsibility and try to make it better. As a sales management team, we need to better understand that even though we don't control everything the reps do, we can control what happens in the present. So if we coach them correctly now and stay in the present each day coaching them, when the time comes, then we can be fully responsible, knowing we've done everything we could at each opportunity, and really just owning up to it, because that's what leaders do. And I think if we do that and influence what we do now, we'll be happy taking responsibility with those good results in the future. But those are all the questions that you had, and let's begin the discussion.